Making a record of any kind is a major achievement. Humans thrive to push their bodies beyond limits, to make or break records. But nothing ever beats doing it on the biggest stage of all, the Olympics. That's why at times, for many athletes, an Olympic record takes more significance than a world record. Today, we'll be taking a look at the 8 insane, long-standing Olympic records and why they won't be broken anytime soon. First up, Ian Millar's 10 Olympic appearances. Making it to the Olympics once in your entire career is cause for immense pride and celebration. It's a big achievement to represent your nation on the biggest stage against some of the best athletes from all around the world. But imagine making 10 Olympic appearances. If your name is Ian Millar, you don't need to imagine that. You only need to curse your bad luck, because it easily could have been 11 if his horse wasn't injured. But still, putting that achievement into context, just remember that the Olympics take place every 4 years, and that means Millar's first appearance in the Olympics came all the way back in 1972 in Berlin. His final appearance was in London in 2012, and his closest competitors finished with one appearance behind him in 9. Unlucky? We'd call it fine margins. Millar used up all his luck in making the appearances, though, as he only won one medal, and that was a silver in 2008. Meanwhile, chasing his record were 2 Olympians, Hubert Rodeschel of Austria and Latvian shooter Afonasis Kuzmins, but both ended up with 9 appearances to their name. Given how competitive the Olympics have become, we think it's unlikely his record will ever be broken. Next, Michael Phelps and his love affair with gold. Making 10 Olympic appearances is not a joke, but try your luck at this one. 23 gold medals by a single athlete. That's not only super impressive, but also a statistic that takes a bit of time to understand. He's quite comfortably the most decorated Olympian, and his tally of 23 golds will never be broken because he was a freak of nature and he probably wasn't human. Phelps was probably the closest thing we had to a mermaid. The closest Olympian to Phelps' immense tally was a Soviet gymnast, Larissa Ladinina. She won 9 gold medals in the 50s and the 60s for the Soviets, and a total of 18 medals. But that's 10 less than Phelps' tally of 28 medals, and of course, the magic number of 23 golds. Still don't think that it was a big achievement? Allow us to provide some more context. Phelps has more gold medals than 66 Olympic nations in their history, including the likes of Argentina, Iran, Croatia, India, Indonesia, Egypt, and so on. Oh, and he didn't even come close to Millar's 10 appearances. He had to settle for 4, but that means he was winning almost 6 golds per edition. Yeah, this record is never getting broken. On to China's table tennis dominance. You ever drift away on YouTube at 2 a.m. and end up watching insane compilations of Chinese people doing crazy things in table tennis? Don't worry, you're not the only one. China has managed to turn this table tennis craze into good use by becoming the most dominant country in the world of table tennis. No country will ever be able to match China's medals in table tennis. The craziest fact is that they keep on producing more and more talent. So far, they've won 53 medals, which include 28 gold, 17 silver, and 8 bronze. And they've won at least 1 medal in every table tennis event since the 1992 Olympics. That's not normal. The closest rival to China's dominance is South Korea, and they've racked up an impressive, but not even close, tally of 18 medals. In fact, there are only 4 non-Chinese players who've ever managed to win gold medals in table tennis. Talk about perfection. Another record that no one will be able to break purely because they seem to be getting better and better, if that was possible. Moving to America's 239 medal scoop. Oh, China knows how to dominate a sport in the Olympics? Talk about dominating the Olympics. The U.S. has always been the biggest contender in all sports events and the Olympics, and thanks to a proper system which supports budding athletes, they manage to compete on multiple fronts in the Olympics every time. They're the most successful nation on the all-time list, with an impressive 2,523 medals, and the closest anyone comes are the Russians, with 1,556 medals. Yeah, mind the gap. But today, we're not talking about their overall tally. Rather, we'll be taking a look at a record they created in 1904, when Team USA won a total of 239 medals in a single edition of the Olympics. The best thing about this impressive feat? They did it in front of the home crowd, and their impressive tally includes 78 golds, 82 silvers, and 79 bronze medals. No one has managed to repeat that feat, but the Soviets did come close in 1980, when they won 195 medals. Once again, though, mind the gap. Then, Florence Griffith Joyner's 100-meter dash. Florence Griffith Joyner was the fastest woman in the world, and in 1988, she created an Olympic record that still stands to this day. Oddly enough, enough, her record has been broken multiple times by women, but none have managed it on the biggest stage, the Olympics. She ran the 100 meters in 10.62 seconds, and then she also made a record in the same edition by running the 200 meters in 21.34 seconds. Florence's 200-meter record stood for 30 years before getting broken, but the closest anyone has come to breaking her record was when America's Carmelita Jeter managed the 100 meters in the Olympics in 10.67 seconds. Close, but not quite good enough. The pressure, it seems, tends to get to athletes, but this is one record which could get broken in the upcoming Olympics because we've got some seriously good runners competing from all over the world. Impressive, but not quite Bolt. Up next, the Perfect 10 by Nadia Comaneci. This is quite comfortably our favorite record on the list, simply because it touched perfection and it was so good that no one will ever be able to break it. You can't improve on something that's perfect. The best you can do is match it, and that's why it's not only beautiful, but also an extremely impressive performance. Nadia Comaneci, a Romanian gymnast in 1976, appeared in the Olympics at age 14. She would go on to do something that no one in the history of the sport has ever managed to repeat, and in the off chance that someone does repeat it, they still wouldn't be able to break her record. She produced the perfect routine in their history, and it was so perfect that the scoreboards simply weren't satisfied, even after giving her a 10.00 score. In fact, it was so unbelievable that even the equipment failed to display her achievement because it wasn't equipped with a 10. Plus, she didn't only break the record, but proceeded to do it a total of 6 times, winning 3 gold medals in the process. Another teenager doing the impossible, Marjorie Jestring, wins gold. Imagine representing your nation at the Olympics, age 13. We talked about Nadia Comaneci doing the impossible at 14, but how about the time that a U.S. diver, Marjorie Jestring, won gold in 3-meter springboard, age 13? Oh, and that's not the only impressive thing about Jestring's achievement. She did it all at the Berlin Olympics in 1936. Berlin, 1936. Connect the dots yet? Well, if you haven't, try Googling a picture of Marjorie Jestring, and don't freak out when you see a man doing the Nazi salute next to her. The teenager completed the amazing feat in front of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, and that's another record that won't be broken because of her young age. Even though the Olympics have become more competitive, we just don't think a 12-year-old will come along bettering Jestring's impressive achievement. And lastly, Bob Beeman's longest jump. Or how about we rephrase that and say the longest jump? Bob Beeman of Team USA did something in the 1968 Olympics that no one would ever do. Not again, at least for another 54 years. Beeman jumped an unprecedented 29 feet and 2.5 inches, creating an Olympic and world record at the time. He'd go on to lose the world record, as Mike Powell broke it in 1991, but he couldn't do it in the Olympics, so we think it's a record that'll keep on standing for a few more decades at least. Beeman's jump was so crazy that the measuring equipment couldn't measure it, as they didn't think anyone would jump that long. Talk about breaking the barriers. And a special mention to Usain Bolt, the man, the myth, the legend, broke the record for the fastest 100 meters in Olympic history in 2008 when he completed it in 9.69 seconds. Then he'd go on to break his own record and make it 9.63 seconds. He also holds the world record with 9.58 seconds, but no one has even broken his 2008 record yet. So this is another record that won't be getting broken anytime soon. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these records is the most impressive and won't be broken in the decades to come? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.